China. So don't tell me about China. I know China.
China. Whether it's China.
So if you went to China and you wanted to get a job in China,
I don't knock China. How could I dislike China? A man from China. China.
Welcome to an Exile. You know what I wish? I wish that we once had a world leader that understood the significance of China.
Let's say China.
Here's Never Trumpers at the Hill. Joe Biden's China problem just got a whole lot worse. Balloongate is grabbing headlines again for all the wrong reasons. CNN is reporting that U.S. intelligence officials are assessing the possibility that the suspected Chinese spy balloon was not deliberately maneuvered into the continental U.S. by the Chinese government and are examining whether it was diverted off course by strong winds.
China.
The Biden administration just came up with an excuse to help cover up China, saying, oh, a spy balloon didn't get here deliberately, it was the wind. This will not go down well. Now we are expecting to believe that perhaps Beijing didn't actually mean to send the huge spy craft hovering for several days over our sensitive military installations, but somehow it ended up there by accident?
China. You take China. China.
Or even worse, if this is meant to curry favor with Xi Jinping by burying China's misbehavior, the public will be outraged.
China. I have to have my China. China, because China. You know, China.
I know China very well. China.
Such an attempt to spin recent events would further inflame those who are already concerned about President Biden's entanglements with China and who suspect the president is compromised by his family's business activities in that country.
I've been saying China.
Unhappily, there is plenty to support those suspicions. As the Washington Post reported a year ago, over the course of 14 months, the Chinese energy conglomerate and its executives paid $4.8 million to entities controlled by Hunter Biden and his uncle. I have to ask you, there's nothing on Biden's tax records to show his income. Why does he suddenly be able to afford 3 different properties, 3 different mansions? Where's the money coming from? We have the paperwork. The guy's bought and sold by
China.
That figure includes a $1 million retainer to Hunter Biden, issued as part of an agreement to represent Patrick Ho, a CEFC official who would later be charged in the United States in connection with multi-million-dollar scheme to bribe leaders from China. And if only we had a president that we could trust.
And you know China, South China.
Yes, that big embarrassment, Donald Trump. We had to get rid of him to repair our international reputation. Why did the country get rid of the one guy who called out the #1 danger to America? Such reports ring alarm bells. Some are convinced that Beijing, known for spying on visitors and its own citizens, may have something on Joe Biden that would disprove his assertion that he knew nothing about his son's business affairs.
China all the time.
The president's decision a year ago to end President Trump's China Initiative, a program under which the Department of Justice focused on rooting out espionage by Chinese scientists and academics, also seemed to suggest that Biden was protecting Beijing. So Trump went after China across all these fronts, and the Biden administration has led the efforts in removing anything against Beijing.
China to me, China. You want to buy from China? That's great. Buy from China. Buy toys from China. China in particular. China.
I wish we had a leader that understood where we should focus our attention. I can't think of any. Can you?
I have people that I know in China. China. China.
Elsewhere, the Biden administration's eager re-entry into the Paris Climate Accord and enthusiasm for renewable energy can be read as another gift to Beijing. Biden pledged to cut U.S. emissions 50% to 52% by 2030, a drastic promise that could leave Americans with less reliable and less affordable energy, while China basically promised nothing and continues to build new coal-fired power plants. Yes, the entire green movement is going by the Chinese playbook of we limit our own production and our own industry, and China, the world's largest polluter, has to do nothing.
China, when was the last time you heard?
Meanwhile, Chinese companies provide more than 80% of the components for the solar and wind industries worldwide. Despite efforts to boost U.S. self-sufficiency in renewables, trying to reach that emissions target would be a boon to China for the foreseeable future, because every time we build a battery or a solar panel, we're paying China once again to do it. This administration is damaging us on behalf of China and sending money benefiting China. Remember, Trump was a laughingstock for constantly mentioning China. He was an embarrassment. But now, the Hill and many centrists and many never Trumpers are going, wait a minute, maybe Trump was onto something.
China!
China is manifestly not our friend, and Biden must show Americans that he will stand up to an increasingly aggressive Xi and safeguard our security. Balloongate has spotlighted his temerity in doing so. Why is Biden covering for China by saying the balloon just naturally changed course and floated down into America? He'll admit it's a spy balloon. Was it not built to spy on us?
Let me ask you about China.
China. I go to China.
Biden took office thinking voters wanted him to overturn everything that Trump had achieved, including securing the border, achieving energy independence, and a host of other accomplishments. Among those wins was taking a harder line with China and alerting Americans to the threat posed by the Chinese Communist Party. All of you who mocked Trump,
China, 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 China.
Biden would do well to follow Trump's lead by standing up to China's aggressions and, in particular, punishing Beijing for violating our airspace. This isn't going to happen. This is what elections are for. You guys voted the one guy that had China's number. You voted him out. And now you want Biden to come around to Trump's strategy when Biden is financially compromised, his entire family, his brother, and his son? Yeah.
China, 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 China.
You didn't listen to him then.
China,
Maybe
China,
you'll listen
China,
to him
China,
now.
China, China, China. People from China, they love me.
Right.
China, 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 China. In China, they say I don't like China. I love China. People think I don't like China. I love China. China. China is the new China, by the way. China, China, China. I deal with China. China, China, big league.
I'm Doug in Exile.